Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Play Forever expansion podcast. I'm very excited today, and I have two wonderful guests with me. If you somehow landed on this podcast and don't know what Play Forever is, it is a annual show. This is the first year, celebrating the past year in games and the wonderful people who make them, and just kind of highlighting a lot of games that you definitely would have missed, smaller releases, and just having a good time. And yeah, definitely putting the spotlight on the people who make them. I have two wonderful guests here. Um, oh, hold on. So sorry. I didn't ask how either of you want to be referred to. Hotcyder and SlugGlove?
Oh, yeah, that's fine with me.
All right,
Yeah,
perfect.
I'm good with that as well.
Yeah, so SlugGlove, do you want to introduce yourself first?
Yeah, sure. I'm SlugGlove or Alice if my going by like real human names. But I'm a solo developer. I make a lot of weird games. Right now I'm making a game called Rel, which is Rhell. It's a puzzle game. It's all about like using magical spells and doing a bunch of weird stuff, but I'm basically all about indie games since I'm just doing them as my job. But yeah, I just do solo development. I make a lot of games and I have a lot of fun with it.
Awesome. Yeah. And then Hotcyder.
Yeah, so I'm Hot Cider. I guess that's my hacker name for this call, but also known as James. I'm more into the games coverage side of stuff, so I cover I manage the YouTube channel Hot Cider, where we also kind of look at independent games, more so on the smaller singular dev, small team side of stuff. A lot of retro stuff, but kind of platformers and arcade games are kind of our big thing. So, yeah, glad to be here.
Yeah. And then I am August. I am the host of Play Forever and this podcast. I have had a minimal internet presence until recently, where I started Seafoam Heart, basically just trying to do a bunch of different things with video games because I just love the medium and everything that it is. And so if you go over to like my neocities, I have interview text-based interviews with developers, and I've been creating like a resource for free games, like games that don't have monetization, just doing a lot of different things here and there. Um, and so I want to start by asking, how was everyone's relationship to games in 2025? Like, did you all play a lot of games this year? Did you play new releases, older releases?
Oh, I was waiting for you. Sorry. I
It's
played
okay.
so many, but I'm so like delayed with games. I only play like games like I feel like I play games years after they come out, so I'm just like discovering games. I feel like my relationship with games this year has just been like I found TCG Simulator, that game where you just make a card shop and you just simulate making a card shop, and I played that for so much. I've missed so many deadlines with my game. It's so much fun. My like year of gaming has just been making that or just been playing that constantly and being like, yeah, I gotta open packs and I gotta sell them, and it's been great. That's like most of what I've been playing. But yeah, I don't know. I'm like really bad with new releases. I feel like I'm really delayed with those sort of stuff. So I usually come around to games like years after it. Maybe not great to be on a podcast about new releases of games this year, but I've at least played like a couple this year. But I feel like I don't know. I'm all about like really obscure, weird games too. So I think it's been a lot of like those ones in what I've been playing this year as well.
Yeah, I can absolutely concur with that as well. I'll say in terms of I've played a lot of new stuff this year. I'm not sure if anybody else did it, but I think the Steam replay came in a couple of days ago,
Oh yeah.
and it turned out that I had played 146 games in the past year, so nearly a new game every 2 days, which is pretty mad to think about. And of that, I think the percentage was it was about I want to say about 80% of it was new stuff, which was quite, especially like compared to the median, which I think was about 14 to 15% for everybody else. That was quite surprising on my end because, on the other hand, I didn't really play a lot of AAA stuff this year. Certainly none of the headline things like Expedition 33 or Death Stranding 2. It was a bit of an interesting year because I had moved my setup over from I had been using Windows for the longest time, but this year I kind of got more into the Mac ecosystem, which Very good for indie games, especially itch and a lot of the Pika 8 stuff just works perfectly on that platform. But for anything a bit more cutting edge, that's been a bit of a struggle. But I don't feel like I've missed out too much. This has been a really good year, I think, for smaller releases, like anything from individuals all the way up to very like quite small teams. I mean, Hades 2 came out, which I think was something that a lot of people had been looking forward to. Silk Song, obviously, that was another kind of a big headliner there. But again, like most years, I think the things that kind of really like have come out and like sort of stuck have been the surprising things, especially things like Blueprints, which I know had been in development for a while, but really hasn't been anything like that, I don't think. And certainly a lot of very cool iterations on a lot of the big successes we've had, like Vampire Survivors, and a lot of very good Metroidvania stuff this year as well. So I think, especially in the A to double A to kind of indie space, that's been a really good year, 2025.
Yeah, I feel like it's so interesting because like I played also like a lot of games this year. Like I use Backlogged to track my like what games I play, and it says that I've played I think like 97 games this year, but some of those do include like I don't know, like playing online games. Like if I logged Team Fortress 2, it technically counts it as a game I played this year. But yeah, I definitely played a lot of games. I think I played somewhere around like 36 releases in 2025. But most of them, yeah, were smaller games. And I think, I don't know, I have this problem every year, which is, I don't know, problem is a weird word for it, but I feel like even when I end up playing so many games, I always am like, there's always things that I missed. And I think it's exciting because it's like, I'm like, oh, I played like 36 games that released like in 2025, but there are still like ones that I didn't get to. And I don't know, I think it's like a nice thing. It doesn't like the backlog doesn't stress me out, I guess. But I had a lot of fun with games this year. I played majority of like older stuff. But yeah, I think around like 36 new releases, which definitely were like all smaller for the most part, except for I think like Silent Hill F and I can't even think of any. Oh, Kirby Air Riders, but I mean, yeah, but I definitely had a
I
lot
still
of
haven't got
fun.
around to the new Kirby.
What is it?
Oh, I still haven't got around to the new Kirby. I'm really excited about it though.
Yeah,
It looks really good.
it was the sole reason I got a Switch 2. I got it like 2 days before the game came out. Yeah, I think I have a lot to say about that game, but that game feels like a dream come true for me,
Oh
definitely.
yeah,
Which I definitely will.
like it was cool that like because I think the Switch 2 launch has been interesting. Like I think Donkey Kong's maybe been the biggest standout of it because everything else has been very iterative, whereas I guess Air Ride is also iterative because it's a sequel to the original, but it had been so long since then, and I think is very indicative of like just that GameCube era where you had like so many brand new ideas and so many kind of like cool takes on stuff. And I think as well, those two directs that Sakurai did for Air Riders, I think did a lot to kind of sell, how much he loved the concept and how much they really wanted to do with like expanding it out.
Yeah, it's been absolutely. It's so funny because like when the announcement trailer like came out for it, I was freaking out because I was like, oh, this is either like I could tell it was like Sakurai like from like the way the CG was in the trailer, and I was like, oh, this is either like a new Super Smash Brothers or like it's Air Riders, and like I like a new Air Ride sequel, and I couldn't process that because it was so funny. I was telling my wife that like I have this like list of games in my head that are like oh, like if that ever happened, that would be like my ultimate like gaming wishes. Like there's like a few games on that list, and a sequel for Air Ride was one of them. And so it's, I think this is the first time in my life where I've ever had a game like release, and I still am playing it consistently, and I'm like, it doesn't feel real, and I don't know if it ever will like fully settle in. And so that's definitely been like, other than like the other games I've played, I mean that definitely is my like, it definitely is my game of the year, which is like I don't know. It just feels so magical every time I like play it, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it part is in part because I just never thought it was a possibility, like it could ever happen. But yeah,
I get what you mean. I was like the same with like I mean it's not this year, but like with the last Animal Crossing that came out because I was a huge fan of those games when I was a little kid. It's like the new one being released and it's like you do a whole bunch of stuff. I was like, oh my gosh, I was so happy about it and I played it for years and years and years after it came out and I was just I guess that's how I am about like the new DLC for that too, actually. Or just like, oh yay, new stuff. Or it's just like a game that comes out and it's just like, oh, it just feels really happy about it. And it's just like a really, really pleasing game to have come out.
It's really funny too, because like I'm almost certain that they said that there wouldn't be any more updates for Animal Crossing, and then like I think they said that like 2 years ago or something, and then like I thought it was like
Yeah, there was like a big pause in it.
yeah, so I was like, oh, that's awesome that they're adding more to it. But
Me too. I'm so excited for it. I just want to make more stuff in it.
I'm
so
honestly surprised that, like, with Animal Crossing, that nobody else is like, especially since, like, The Sims feels like it's kind of gone very quiet in regards to just, like, that kind of, like, life simulator stuff. Like, it really is, apart from, obviously, you get a lot of kind of farming sims and the like, but I don't think anybody really quite gets that life sim aspect that Animal Crossing's really good at, you know?
Yeah, I've heard like the Hello Kitty game is apparently
Oh,
really good for
yeah.
that. I haven't played it though yet, but I've heard that like that's like a really good contender for like that kind of vibe.
yeah, that seems like a game aesthetically that would, if they went mechanically like more similar to Animal Crossing, that it would definitely like mesh well. Because I agree. I feel
Oh
like
yeah.
it's I don't know, like Animal Crossing has such a unique feeling to it because it's like I feel like it is more about the like the low moments in a way where it's like the interactions with the villagers and just more so like being in the world and like there is things you can do like with like the building the island and stuff, but I don't know, I guess that stuff always came like second to me, like I don't know, it's interesting. But I do have the lists of games that you both sent me, and I would love to, because I am familiar with most of these games, but some of them I also know like a little bit about. And so, SlugGlove, you sent one of the games you sent in was Eclipsium.
Oh, I love Eclipsium.
Uh,
It's so good. Have you seen it?
I have seen screenshots and maybe like a teaser at a showcase before, but I definitely do not. I've heard a little bit about it, but I don't know much about it.
Okay, it's a game for weird freaks. It's amazing. It's just like I don't know. It's just like a weird horror game, and you always like see your hands. It's like, wait, where's the camera? It's like this, and you're always looking at your hands. I guess that'd be backwards. And it has like just like the most amazing animation I've seen. It has like a lot of details in them. There's like a lot of weird body horror stuff, like the tools, like stuff that come out of your hand, and you like use them, and it's just weird. Like I'm trying to like describe what happens in the game. No clue what happens in the plot. I've played it like twice. I don't know what the plot's about. It's just some stuff happens, and maybe it means something. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't. But I think it's just like a very very interesting game because it's like very artistically dense and like very interesting and like just cool to think about. It has like a lot of weird like mechanics, but just like all to do with the visuals of it. I should really describe what the game is. Okay, so you play the game and you like look at your hands and you just explore these really, really, really weird, specific worlds. And like they're not overly complicated or like dense, but they're just like very weird things. Like one of them is you're going across this like mining facility sort of thing, but the way you're moving across it, like the depth of everything is really, really intense and it makes the whole area look huge. And it has like it's sort of like there's scaffolding, but there's just infinites of in like an immense amount of it and it just looks so visually dense and weird, and I think it's a really interesting game because it's just like so artistically competent and so like amazing in the presentation of it, and the gameplay is just like I mean if you boil it down, it's just the gameplay. It's just like you walk to a place and you hit the button and then you go to another place and you hit the other button. It's like very basic, but it's like who cares? It looks cool, it looks nice, it has like a really good presentation to it. And it's just one of those games that's like a really cool experience and it's just nice to play. It's just a nice cozy time being in the horrifying hell world. It's just really cool. I don't know how else to describe it. It's just a cool old game.
Is it
I was
like
gonna say, yeah, like looking at because I hadn't heard of this until you mentioned it, and I'm doing a. It reminds me a lot of. Did you ever play Mouthwashing? I think came out last
Oh my
year.
gosh, yeah. Mouthwashing is fantastic.
I never got to
Yeah.
that one. It
Oh.
seemed
Oh,
very
you gotta.
heavy, and I just didn't know when I was going to be ready
Mm.
for it. And so I was like, I definitely want to get to it. I was just like, I just need to be ready because of everything I've heard.
It's a
Oh,
tough
it's
time,
very
and I'm
heavy.
imagining this is more like the horror is more like kind of in the visuals and sort of the eeriness of it more than like
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but
Yeah, like I think there is a plot to it, but it's not like mouthwashing where it's like this is the thing that happens. It's horrifying. It's like with Eclipsium, it's kind of like a probably infer what's happening in the plot, but it's like very metaphorical, and I think that's like it could be about the most horrifying, serious topic ever, but I don't really know what was happening, so I'm just not picking up on that. So it's okay. I'm just having a good time looking at stuff. So I think it's like a very interesting for a horror game in that situation.
Are there?
I think what's cool about it as well is like because adventure games, I think, especially first-person ones, I think like usually a lot of people kind of go the thing of doing it like Myst, where it's very much wanting to set you in a world and kind of make everything quite realistic. Whereas with this, like I think mouthwashing came to mind very much just because of that visual style and stuff. And I think what's cool is that like it looks retro, but it's not like trying to go for something old. It's almost like it's using. It's like when people try and do like they use like vinyl crackle and stuff. It's like trying to evoke those old visuals to give it like a really interesting texture.
Yeah, definitely. It kind of like a really old game that's like maybe a point and click, but it's
Mm.
all 3D and you're just like in it. So it has like really old like grainy, gritty art style, but like you're just like in the world. So it's like moving in a way that those really wouldn't. So it's very like it's super unique, and I think it has like I'm not like super sure how they did the animation. I'm almost certain they do rotoscoping because I'm an animator, so I can kind of just see it. For some of it, and it has like a nice mix of rotoscoping and what seems to be like 3D in it as well. So it's like very very competently done and just really visually interesting too.
Are there any like explicit characters? Like, do you talk to people in this game, or is it's just all silent? Like all, it's very abstract.
It's all silent. There's like a couple cutscenes. That's it.
It
There's a
sounds.
pig at one point. That's pretty cool.
And are like the
And there's a snake.
puzzles? Are the puzzles? Is there any sort of like mechanical? Because
Okay, it's
like there's
really weird.
puzzles, right?
There's Yeah, there kind of is, but a lot of it's just like you kind of walk there and you do whatever. And then right near the end of the game, there's this really one of the most interesting puzzles I've seen in a game like ever. It's just like a fascinating puzzle. I think it's really really cool. Um, Aside from that, no, you just walk places, and it's crazy that it just throws like this really cool concept right at the end. But it's a lot of like kind of simple stuff. You use the axe on the wood and you chop the wood and you make the fire and the fire melts the thing.
Ah,
Very basic stuff. But then as it goes on, there's like this really amazing puzzle at the end. But it's mostly just abstract, sort of walking around, looking at stuff.
that yeah, that is. It sounds really honestly like interesting because like the screenshots that I have, it looks very like crunchy and like dithery, and I'm like,
Oh
I don't
yeah.
know. It looks something like something I would really like, but I just yeah, I haven't gotten to that one yet. I don't know. It looks. How is the like the audio design and like the sound like and the soundtrack?
Oh, super creepy. It's really good. Good soundtrack. Sounds really good. It's very creepy at parts, but it's not like overtly. There's also just like I think a thing that a lot of horror games have is they'll have like the soundtrack and it's like and it's very drony and it's kind of like very samey. But Eclipsium has like a lot of tracks that are just like, oh, this is just good. It just sounds nice and I like it. But it's also creepy and out aesthetic, which I think is a really good like blend to get where it is sort of what you expect from a horror thing, but it still sounds like a song I'd listen to.
Nice. Well, I mean, that's Eclipsium. I'm really interested in it, and honestly, the way you like described it just made me more interested. Um, I don't know if you have any more questions about Eclipsium, Hot Cider.
I was only really going to ask, and I guess maybe this is a bit of a broader question, but I'm assuming, especially based on the game that you're working on at the moment, I'm assuming like adventure games are something you do like genuinely gel with. But I was wondering with like Eclipsium, especially with like horror stuff, how did you play it? Like, do you have like a setup, or was it like on Steam Deck, or?
Oh, I just play it on like my work office, which is just like it's a table and I sit on the floor and I have my TV at the other side of the table. It's not a great setup, but I just kind of like
It
it's my
works.
casual playing game setup.
Nice. All right, and then so that is Eclipsium. Which do you know when that came out in the year? Was that earlier in this year? Not
Yeah, I
sure.
want to say it's earlier. I'm
Yeah.
gonna shrug. I'm honestly not sure if it came out this year. I could have just lied to you all,
No.
but I'm
I.
pretty sure.
Yeah.
I think
Wait,
it
no,
came
I
out in
think it came out at
September.
Halloween.
Oh wow, that
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah.
that. Wow, that wasn't that long ago. Interesting. I feel like I seen it beforehand. Maybe I just was looking at the screenshots of it. Yeah, Eclipsium. That
Could have been like
sounds
an earlier trailer.
yeah, that sounds amazing. So Hot Cider, you have. You know what? I think I'm gonna pick Ooh for this one because Ooh is a
Sure.
game that I know we've all played.
Oh yeah,
And
I
yeah,
love Ooh.
Hot Cider, do you want to give the breakdown on what Ooh is?
Absolutely. So for people at home who've never played it, so I'll give a tiny bit of a explanation to kind of what put me on it, which is that the developer behind it, I can't quite remember the combination of words, but essentially he worked on a game a few years ago called Head, which I absolutely adored, which was this puzzle platformer, which is about essentially you play as a robot who has an electric head, and essentially that means that any surface that you walk on gets electrified, but you can also decouple the head, and so some stuff gets electrified and some stuff doesn't. It's one of those just great puzzle games though, where it's very dialogue light. It doesn't really tutorialize it like in cutscenes or with big button prompts or whatever. Gives you a couple of safe rooms to sort of figure out the mechanics kind of early on, and then lets you go from there essentially. And Ooh is the next game from that developer, and I think kind of almost takes that ethos and makes it like even smoother than that. So in terms of its grand story and plot, you play as a little caterpillar whose the segments of the body is made out of bombs. And one day you're swallowed by a giant bird, and the task is to escape, basically. And the bird's body is fortunately a really interesting kind of Metroid style adventure maze to kind of figure out, but it's also one that's made out of a lot of like dead ends and kind of how the game works, which I think is really clever, is you only have this single mechanic, which is that you can set a bomb from your body, and then that bomb can explode, and it can either move you, or it can move other bombs, or it can interact with the world. And essentially, what the game does bit by bit is teach you, okay, here's what you can do as a character, here's what your bombs can do, and here's how they can interact with the world. And as you reach these dead ends, it's almost like a kind of a big wordless tutorial of okay, we've now taught you how to do this thing, or like here's this cool wrinkle that you've now learned with this, and you can then go back to where you started, like this kind of branching point, use that ability, and then find a new way ahead. So the game is constantly just playing this really interesting trick where it's we're going to wordlessly teach you how to do something with a very simple puzzle. Then we're going to make that puzzle more and more complex until we know that you've reached this level, that we know that you can do this, and then we'll let you move on to the next thing. It's not a very long game. It's only maybe a couple of maybe 2, 3-ish hours or so. Looks fabulous. I think it's a this very kind of simple sprite art look to it, very in line with their previous game, which was this kind of one bit like black and white kind of thing. This they've expanded into additional colors for the different parts of the bird that you go to. Soundtrack is also very simple but super effective, I think. And yeah, I put it on this list because I just think that like I love kind of these sort of puzzle platformer adventure games like this, and this is like one of the better examples that I've seen of just like completely teaching all its stuff wordlessly.
I think that's like the biggest. I don't know. It was one of my favorite games by far this year. It the way that it is able to like I think the big thing is communicating things without saying anything. Because yeah, I think like
Mm.
the only thing that it says is that like, oh, it just tells you how to press A to place a bomb, and then like the rest of the game is just you intuitively like figuring out everything. And just the way that they are able to build and like just take the it seems like they took like the utmost potential out of one singular mechanic and then just like they just like extrapolated it as much as they could and like just thought of like so many different ways you could use this one single thing. And it's yeah, I think it took me about like 3 hours to beat. There was one point where I got stuck, and Ooh is filled with so many like aha moments of
Mm.
like you'll walk into a room and you'll be like, I have no idea how to solve this. And then like I would like start thinking back. I'd be like, okay, well what have I already learned? And then through like messing around, I would be like, oh, there's no way this is gonna work. And then it works. And especially like near like the second half of the game, there was a few points where I got stuck, and then I was like, there's no way that I will be able to like like, oh, if I can only do this, and then it's like it just makes your brain like expand more and more and more on how to view one singular mechanic. And it was just so satisfying because with every time that it happened, I was like, there's no way like that this will work. And then I would do the thing and then I would be like, this game is incredible. Like I just can't, like I don't know, it just was making me smile like every single time I solved something because it all felt so clever.
I was going to ask then, so if we've all played it, what was like each of your favorite, like what was the coolest, like your favorite thing that you learned that the bombs could do during the game?
The bombs or just like,
Oh,
well,
oh, oh, what was the coolest thing that you learned? Yeah, because actually there's a
yeah.
couple of different things as well with that.
I have
So
like a very one that comes to mind is when I learned that I could like propel a bomb upwards, but like have another bomb to the left of it and me onto the right of it, and then have the second
yeah.
bomb launch me, so I could go like this weird up diagonal motion. I was like, oh my gosh, I was so just like, oh, this opens up everything. I can do anything with this now. I was so happy when I figured that one out.
I think the one for me is it's not so I mean yeah this is like slight spoilers for like mechanic stuff, but it was like the one that I was like really stuck on where I was like is when I figured out that you could like that the bombs persist even if you're
Yep.
not anywhere
Oh my
near
gosh,
like
yeah.
where it is. And it's like it's something where it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense, but it's not something that I feel like a lot of games do where like something like
Mm.
so far away from where you are like still like just persists and it has like permanence there. And using that to solve a puzzle was like it was like probably the first time where I was like I literally just like put the controller down. I was like I like the fact that they thought of this and that it was also that's the thing too is like I also just don't know how they communicated this to me. And it's like I guess it's
Yeah.
just like there's not many options and there's only like like a singular mechanic, so it's like maybe it's just that and that I don't know, it's just the way that it was communicated to me. It just made me feel like how did you do this like without saying anything like
No,
I think that's
there's
really
two for me,
impressive
and
about it.
I'll be
Oh,
vague about the second one because it's a bit of a spoiler. But like the first, when I knew the game was special was when, and this is really silly to say, but like when I realized that bombs could be carried on my head, and I was like,
oh my
huh,
gosh, yeah.
and use that to like blow stuff immediately above, and I was like,
yeah.
yeah, I never really can. And that literally came from just a puzzle where you're in this locked room and there's nothing else you can do, but you can put a bomb above, and then like I think there was just a moment where I went, oh, I wonder if I like will the bomb squash me if it falls? It doesn't. Oh, and now the bomb is and I can activate it on my, and I was like, because I think that's a really interesting thing as well is that like they take a the game is called Ooh, and it's a really funny name because it's an ooh umlaut and then two O's, and it's what your character looks like. It's a little kind of caterpillar with two eyes, and then you only get two bombs in the game, and they do as much as they can with a single bomb before they ever let you have the second one, and you just don't realize like how much. But then there's that second moment which isn't even bomb related, which I won't spoil it, but like very much it felt like Valve's Portal, where a mechanic where I never considered momentum could carry. I was like, I genuinely, I felt like, again, it makes you think of just like other games and just how much potential can be left on the table with that stuff. But it felt like every single mechanic could that could be mined out of it was just really like, yeah, it just really squeezed it out. Just so impressive, you know?
Yeah, it's I don't know. I never played their I don't know if it was their first game, but Head. I never played it, but after playing Ooh, I was like I need to play that game. I haven't played it yet, but I was like that's definitely like top priority now cuz I was like it's I don't know. Ooh, yeah. Ooh is just it was so fantastic just from start to finish. Everything about it was like it just feels so intentional in the way that like even the way that the puzzles are placed in like the progression of like teaching you how things can work because they could have like went crazy and like you know the second puzzle like could have been the one where they dropped like the bomb on your head, but it's like the
Yeah.
way that they like slowly like ramped up like just like expanding your brain on like to what the mechanic could do was just it was just endlessly satisfying. And like near the end it feels like such a payoff of like the moment where you're like oh like now like I have so much knowledge now. And like near the end of the game when you start like when you can like feel it's getting towards the end of the game and you're like just using everything you've learned and it's like it feels like this weird like like yeah, like learned like how to speak the game's language, and it just was like I don't know, it was absolutely wonderful.
I think that sort of thing's like really satisfying in design as well because it's like
Mm,
there's no like progression in like the player basically aside from the two bombs. So it feels like all the progressions in like you as the
yeah.
person because it's like you learning stuff. And I think that's like such like a cool thing to pull off in a game where it's like every like you could have just left the game in like the first thing after you got the second bomb. It's like, well, I have everything I need to leave. But it's like, no, you as the player have to like learn how to use this system, and it's like so fascinating that that's the progression of a thing. I think like as a Metroidvania, that's such like a unique thing for a game to do. I think it's just like so satisfying that it managed to pull it off so well and like feel so good as the player. I felt like a genius when I finished it. I was so happy.
I was going to ask, like, Slug, obviously you're making a adventure game as well, where it's kind of its big mechanic is this kind of, you have all these different approaches to sort of solve puzzles and the like. And I guess, like, kind of from your, like, what does the opposite side of that look like? Of how do you, like, pace that kind, or how do you think about, like, trying to pace that kind of players being able to sort of figure out that, like, that stuff out at their own kind of speed so they feel that kind of satisfaction?
Yeah, I think for Rel, it's like a whole lot of okay, I need to place this rune here so they can unlock it and get this ability, but it can't be too complicated because then there's like some players who won't get it. So it's like having to like very, very slowly drip feed these like complicated mechanics into the player, like one by one, um, just like over the course of it, and also like portray them in the world. A thing I like to do a lot in my game is like I'll just make a world revolving around a mechanic that the player goes to, and then not give them the mechanic to like do stuff until like a little bit after it, so that they've already experienced it in the world, and it's like, well, I've seen it happen, so I can use it now. But it is also an open world game, so it's kind of
Yeah.
just complicated. I do have an eternal fear that like the players are going to play my game when it finally is like finished and released, and they're going to be like, oh, I just walked to the area where I got the magical effect to make portals out of anything, and well, I just got that first, so I have the most powerful thing in the game. But I think as far as my game goes, it's like trying very, very carefully to like kind of lead the player to get like the easiest sort of stuff first. So it's kind of like holding their hand and being like, look, here's some simple stuff. You can do this, can't you? And then having like the difficult stuff there, but it's like presented in a way where it feels not natural to go to until they've sort of like developed their knowledge further and they realize they can do that sort of stuff with like the systems. But it's kind of just putting the hard stuff behind a big wall and being like, mm-mm, don't go there yet. It's too hard for you. Go here where it's simple. And then kind of like putting the simple stuff like really, really carefully just given to them bit by bit.
One thing I will say is funny. I because when I played the demo for Rel, I sequence. It felt like sequence breaking, where it was like there was like a bridge, and I was like, "Oh, I don't think I'm supposed to
Oh,
cross
yeah.
this in the demo." And then I figured out a way to cross it, and I think there was like a rock or something over there, and it had something scribbled on it, but I don't remember what it was. Uh,
Oh, I remember. It says buy my game.
yeah, yeah, I did that, and it's funny because I love it's interesting because it makes me think of like ooh with I wonder because I haven't gone back to replay the game, but a part of me really wants to because I wonder with the knowledge that I have now how much sequence breaking I can do and if I even need to like go to certain areas. Like I wonder, yeah, I don't know because I was like I really wonder if like it was also built in that way where like you can like sequence break and like beat the game really fast because like I have a feeling that you probably can since it's like knowledge based progression, but I don't
Yeah, I
know.
must expect so. It's kind of like that game Void Strangers too, where it's like a lot of knowledge based
Yeah.
stuff. So I feel like once you know how to do stuff, it's like, I could just walk through walls now. I know what to do. That sort of thing where it's just like, as long as you as the person remember to do it, then it's kind of like there and it could have been done all along.
Yeah, well, that is Ooh, and Ooh is yeah, Ooh is absolutely phenomenal. If anyone hasn't played Ooh, you should go play it right now. It's like 2-3 hours, absolutely incredible. Will make your brain feel like it is expanding beyond everything. So one of the games I have written down on this list is Angeline Era. Have either of you heard about this game?
Wait,
I
is that the
have.
first one you sent me? I might have.
It is Yeah, it's from a
Oh, it's
developer
not.
that I'm not too terribly familiar with. They have past games, the Anodyne 1 and 2 games. And then I know they're also.
Oh,
Oh, have you played those
I
games?
didn't know they made those. Those are fantastic.
Yeah, so I have not played those games, but Angeline Era makes me want to play everything that they've ever done because oh my gosh, Angeline Era is absolutely incredible. I have only played a few hours of it, but it has left such an incredible impression. It is essentially like a top down kind of like adventure game. They call it like a bump slash action adventure game because like the whole thing with the combat is that you don't press any buttons to attack. You just walk into enemies and you bump slash them. So you just have to like kind of like if an enemy walks into like your back though, like they'll hit you. So there's kind of like a priority there. But it's great because putting the emphasis on just like almost like movement and positioning frees up like for the game to do so much more with combat. There's like a lot of like the enemies will like shoot like lots of bullets at you, so there's like almost like a bullet hell sort of aspect. And then you're also like trying to jump around and position yourself to like correctly like slash enemies by walking into them. It's a really satisfying mechanic, but I think one of the biggest reasons that this game has connected with me is just its pure like rewarding of curiosity. It's it's so interesting because it's like I don't know, it's like this world where it takes a lot of inspiration from like older RPGs. I think you can see like a lot of like Final Fantasy VII in its presentation, like the low poly models, and it has like an overworld where like your characters are like the size of like the forest. You know what I mean? So like they're super big, kind of like walking around. And what this game does though is that it has this searching mechanic. So when you're on the overworld, there's no explicit like it doesn't tell you where the levels are. You have to search to find them. So like you'll like walk over, and it's kind of like tile based. So like you'll walk over like a tile, and you can press the search button, and if nothing's there, nothing happens. But like the game uses this mechanic to like have you observe the world and look at things that are like out of place, and it immerses you so fast because like if you see like oh like this rock is like in the middle of this field, you're like that looks suspicious, I'm gonna go like search on it and see what happens, like if there's a level there. And so like right from like the get-go it already is like making you very curious about the world itself. And not only does that just like happen on the overworld, it also takes place within the levels themselves, which is infinitely satisfying because from the moment I like load into like a level, I'm like already looking around at everything around me. I'm like, oh, can I jump on that? Like, is there a spot really high I can go search up there? And sometimes you'll just get rewarded with like currency or like I don't know something little, but it's just so satisfying and it just makes me so curious. And I haven't. It's interesting because like I've played games my entire life, and not only does this game do that mechanic and like really reward curiosity, I feel like it plants a seed to also reward curiosity that is just like exploring and that has nothing to do with like the searching mechanic. Because when you're like playing through a level and you're like fighting enemies and like going through, I'm naturally like, oh, like I feel like there's so many hidden things out of sight. And most of the time, like if you like where a game might have an invisible wall, if you like go over there and try to like jump over it, it might like transition screens and there might be like a whole section over there that was like just out of view. And so like I don't know, Angeline Era does this like insane thing of just like planting this seed of curiosity in you and then just like constantly rewards you for like searching in obscure places or like just like moving around like the world like that. It is just it's infinitely satisfying, and I haven't even like really gotten into like because this game is really also like steeped in its lore and mythos and just like the characters, and there's a storyline that is very interesting, but just the pure sense of like exploration in this game is just it's just so fulfilling. Like I don't
It
know.
looks based on like just how you're describing it. It kind of feels like the same vibe like when you play the game as a kid and you wouldn't really like
Mm.
understand what was going on, and you just like explore stuff and be like fascinated by everything. Like it reminds me of like playing Mario Kart as a kid and like not driving on the track, but like driving around and just being like, oh, I wonder what's over here. I wonder what's over here, and like exploring the game as it is like a world. It kind of vibes wise. It sounds very much like that, which like it sounds fascinating.
Yes, it is incredibly fascinating. And honestly, it gives me that same feeling because I've been playing Mario Kart World and I've been like doing the same thing where
Yeah.
like, I don't know, maybe it's just how I play games, but I like going on top of random buildings and just like looking at the world from like, quote unquote, not intended angles and stuff like that. And so it's like this game like knows that like you're gonna be curious and is just there to like it feels like the ground rises to meet my feet anytime I'm like I want to be curious, like a little extra curious too. I'm like, oh, there's no way if I like search here that it'll do anything, and then like it just takes me to a completely different like place in the level that like there's probably so many things that you can miss in this game, and it's making me just like explore like every crevice because it is just infinitely, and let alone, I mean, the combat and stuff like that is all just so, it's so satisfying. So that alone, everything just is like propelling me like in this world. And I'm not sure what their like other games are like, but it has me very
Oh, it's
curious.
it's the same. If it sounds just like Anodyne, if I'm being honest. Those games are also just like weird and they feel like a weird dream to play, and it sounds like very tonally similar to those games, which I want to play this game so badly now. You described it so well. I'm like, I want to play this game immediately. It sounds great.
I was going to say a friend of mine who's another content creator, who I'll quickly shout out, called Chariot Rider, has been a huge, like, one of the biggest fans of Angelina era, like, pretty much since its drop. I mean, this might be a bit of a silly question, but I might lead to something interesting. But which is, what does the name like? What does the name mean? Like, do they explain what a like Angelina era is in game?
So it's they haven't explicitly explained it to me yet because I feel like I haven't, like, I'm trying to explore so many things, and so like I haven't progressed like the main story that much. But I can kind of see, I think I know like the Angeline. I can think I, because the game has a lot to do with like angels and like it
Mm.
talks a lot about like the era that you're in, and so I think it like has to do with like the fact that we are like the world that is we're living in is like the era of angels is what I'm inferring. Almost certain they're going to like explicitly like explain everything because this also is a game that like, and so I was also like, it's not just like level after level. There's also towns that you
Sure.
can go into, and you can also. It's so funny because to talk to people, like everything is bump slashing. So talk to people, you just like bump into them, and then they'll like say things. But the characters are all so, they're all written so interestingly, and there's just like a lot of emphasis placed on like just being in the world, and it's so engaging in the fact that like I have no idea like how conversations are going to go with NPCs. There's a lot of like religious motifs in this game, and like there's like they even like mention Christianity and stuff. I think the main character might be Christian. It's like it's a very interesting world, but it's also there's like fae and angels and like magic, and like it just there is a very eclectic like universe, and it's like I
Mm.
don't know, I'm very interested to see where it goes like narratively, because like let alone from the world and just exploring it just feels like there's just so much history to it, and that's part of the reason why it's just infinitely fascinating. Yeah, let alone the like the combat and the bosses and just like the way it's so funny because like it's not really a spoiler, but this game's tone, like you were saying, like it seems tonally similar to their other games. I'm not sure how funny their other games are, but like this game's so interesting because it'll feel like it'll be like serious and then like really silly. Like for example, like near the very beginning of the game, you end up fighting like this fish boss who just like keeps being like, it's like the first thing you fight in the game essentially, and it's like you fight a fish and then like you fight two fish and then you fight like a bunch of fish and they're all shooting like lasers out of their mouths, and it's like it just seemed so like absurd, but and then like after that it was just like very like straightforward, and I was just like, it's, I don't know, they seem very confident in like whatever they're trying to hit, like with like from level to level and like the type of energy they want you to feel from an environment. And I will say there is a level, yeah, I don't know, the level design is absolutely phenomenal, and there is a level like I played in the demo that they released like a while back, and I literally like I haven't gotten to that level in the main game, but I literally had to like put my controller down and I went and laid down because I was like I just needed to think about how that level was designed. Like it was one of my favorite levels I had ever played, just ever, and I was like and that's part of the reason why I also was so like fascinated and like excited for this game's release. Yeah, it is a lot. I don't know if I missed covering anything, but I feel like it is a densely packed game, and it's just
It
everything
sounds like one
about
of
it.
those games that's like so hard to describe. Like you're describing it, and like you went to the combat bit, and in my head I was like, oh my gosh, there's combat. I forgot that it was a game that like could have combat. It
Yeah.
sounds so weird.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's because like I don't know, there's a lot of combat. Like you're constantly fighting enemies, but then it's also like I feel like it balances like everything it wants to do so well that like it just I don't know, it just all feels so integral to everything. Like it doesn't feel like, oh, this is the combat bit, this is the part where I'm like curious
Oh
and
yeah.
searching. Like it's all just blended together so well, and it's like let alone oh, like I mean, for an example as well, like uh you like when you there's treasure chests in the game, you know, you just bump into them to break them, or like open them and then you'll get something. And so I was like, oh, I wonder if I can break the chest, and I broke the chest, and then it said something like, I'm not afraid to die because I live every day or something like that. And I was like, what? It just like was a text box that
That's
popped up. And then
crazy.
so I was like, okay, so the next chest I found, I did it, and it said something completely different. And I was like, oh, so if you just break treasure chests in this game, like a text box just says like something so unhinged, like just like you wouldn't expect it. I don't know. It is a game that just is I want to look at it from every angle and like just explore everything. So yeah, Angeline era. I think it's only available on Steam. I'm unsure, but I believe so. Yes. All right. So, SlugGlove. You have. Is it pronounced Aina?
Oh my gosh. Ain wait.
Aina or Ina?
I think it's Ina. I'm gonna be on. Okay, there's like a whole thing about how the name's
Oh,
pronounced. I think
Dream
it's
Barbecue.
Ina.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. It is Ina slash Aina's Dream Barbecue, which is a game I'm familiar with,
Yes.
but just through screenshots.
Oh my god, I could tell you everything about this. So Ina is a online like a web series of animations. It was on YouTube. I have been a fan since the first one. They are amazing. If you want something to do after this, just watch all of them. They're so so good. It's I don't know what's happening in them, but they're good. I think it's like people in a virtual world, but they're maybe the AI or maybe the people and their avatars, and it's just weird. And so it's like a lot of abstract stuff. Like the first one is they go to like an auction, and it's just them being in this auction, and I'm pretty sure every single line of dialogue is complete nonsense, and it's just very fascinating and very weird, but it's like super endearing, and like despite it being kind of mostly nonsense, it has like characters and moments that are just like I just like these characters. I like this weird one. I like this weird moon thing that's like weird and sarcastic, and I don't know what she's saying, but I like her. I think she's fun. And it's a lot of like endearing characters and endearing moments. And then Dream Barbecue is a game of that, and it's amazing. It's so good. It is very, very similar to Eclipsium, actually. I think I have a tone of games I like, of like first person weird freak games. But it's like a very first person game. You see your hands, and it's this incredibly, incredibly beautifully animated world, and it's very, very stylish and beautiful. And it's just basically a walking simulator. You know, it's not like super complicated, but it's really good. And you go up to these characters and you have these interactions with them, and when you talk to them, it will cut to this very, very, very usually 2D, but sometimes mixed media, 3D, like animated sequences of the characters like fully talking to you in these animated sections, and they are beautiful. They are spectacularly, just amazingly beautifully looking whenever a character talks to you. And it's just you exploring this world and all like the weird stuff in it. Like, okay, I'm going from my head. I'm trying to find the most normal thing that happens in the game to describe, and there isn't a single one. You go to like a bathhouse at one point, but then as you're going in the bathhouse, you start collapsing, but you're talking to people as if they're having a party, and then you wake up and you're like a different version of yourself. It's a weird abstract game. and it's really cool. And it's just the first chapter of it, and it's just a very, very fantastic experience that I definitely recommend playing because I think it's free. Is it free?
Yeah, I
I don't
believe it
recall
is.
paying. Yeah, it's just very, very good. Like, I don't know what else to say about it. It's just a really, really good, beautiful experience. It's just like a nice piece of art, and I'm so excited for more of it. I love Ina. I am the biggest Ina fan. I'm so, so happy it came out. It's just fantastic. It's like playing one of the videos, which I think is just like, for me, who's a big fan of the series, so exciting to be able to do. So I'm just so happy about it. I've had such a good time playing it.
I was going to say, so the people who make the animations, they're also involved in Dream Barbecue as well, then, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I would. I think it's the same person or people. I don't know if it's a team or not, or one person. It's very unclear to me. But yeah, it's by the same team, which is it was really exciting for me when it came out because it was just a teaser for it, and it was just like usually the Ina series is they're not like they're really beautifully animated, but they're not like crazy crazy animated. But then the teaser for Dream Barbecue drops, and it is amazing looking. It is like one of the most beautifully animated things I've ever seen. It's incredible. I think it's fantastic. So just seeing that out of nowhere and then it being like, oh, it's also a game. It was a really, really good moment for me being able to see that. It was very exciting.
I feel like
But yeah, it has that same like similar visual to the shows.
I feel like that's an incredible compliment to say that it like captures the vibe of like the series. Like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
because I feel like that's so interesting. Because I knew that it was like based off of something, but I didn't know like I wasn't familiar with what it was. But now I'm very interested. Is it like so? Is there like because it seems very abstract. So is there like a story or is it more so just like vignettes almost of like you're here doing
there is a
this thing?
story.
Okay, so there's like a straightforward like story to it.
There is, but it's well, I wouldn't say straightforward. There's a story. It's crazy, and I don't know what's going on there, but there is a story. It's like you are Ina, you're a worker, and you have to find the boss, but a bunch of people say they're the boss, and you need to go to this area, but there's smoke, so you have to find a god in the bathhouse to get rid of the smoke. But halfway through, you die and you became a different person, and then you get the god and you find it. And that's the plot of Dream Barbecue. If I can remember, if I can remember it all, and I don't know what's going on in it. I think that's what happens. It's crazy. It's very weird. I know there's like definitely analyses of people who be like, here's what it all means. I'm not smart enough to do that. But there is definitely a story and like things you can follow, but it is like also kind of just stuff happens and it's very interesting.
Is there voice acting or is it text based dialogue?
Oh yeah, there is. And some of the voice acting is just in a different language for don't know why, but it's very cool. You just find a character and it's like, oh, this one's just French. This one's just talking French.
That's nice. It sounds absolutely like yeah bonkers, and that's exactly what I don't know. I like things that are just so out there because it just it
Oh
it
yeah.
it can I don't know. I feel like it can just like I like things that are very abstract and have like a lot of symbolism or just like very like I don't know, like almost like there's like faint remnants of like touchstones to other things, but it's also like fuzzy because it's I feel like it leaves such an interesting like I don't know. I like things that make me like curious, and I feel like anything like that. And so yeah, Ana does seem like it would like leave me very very more like interested in like wanting to know more about the world and the characters because it sounds
I think
absolutely
100% you would want to. If that's your kind of vibe, you're gonna watch all the series and then get back to me and you're gonna love it.
yeah. And
It's
then
it's really cool, like as adaptations go as well, because I think when you think of like most, TV or like film to game stuff, it always fits in the thing of it's a platformer, it's a race, it's all very genre-y. Whereas by the sounds of this, like, and especially because as you said, it's all like kind of first person as well. So I think it's almost a little bit like, they really want to like literally put you in the world of this. The fact that they make
Oh,
you a character,
100%.
I think, is like super interesting. And then they change what your identity is like halfway through is also like really like I've used this term a few times, but it's almost a bit like digital theater where it's the closest thing to going to like a Disneyland essentially, but you can install it through Steam and rather than Mickey Mouse, it's Ina's Dream Barbecue, which I think is like, yeah, just such a like a really cool approach to doing that. That like, yeah, I haven't really thought of like anybody else. Like I can think of like games that stuff that started as games and then became franchises, but it's interesting that obviously they've done this from the opposite way, and yeah, it just sounds super neat, you know?
It's very fascinating, especially because the series as well. I feel like, at least to me, as it goes on, it starts off as like animated, but then it kind of feels like it's a video of a fake video game. Like it has like point
Hmm.
and click kind of elements of you like navigating mazes, and then it's interesting to see that then go to like an actual game. So it's like
Yeah.
it's very odd. Like it like as I'm watching it, it seems like it's becoming a game, and then that just actually happens. It's really fascinating.
Is it like so like in terms of like the is there like the exploration or like is there like any sort of like exploration or is it more so like
Oh yeah, yeah.
okay, and is there like jumping and like
Yeah, so you
platforming
kind of
or
like there is, but it's like very basic. It's like kind of jumping, and I think you can crouch, and that's about it. And it's all first person, but you kind of have like a few openish areas where you can like walk around, talk to characters, figure out what you need to do next, and like go into some rooms. There's side quests as well, but they're all like very loose. They're like, bring me the free withered babies or whatever. I think that's one of them. I don't know. There's like exploration characters, sort of like some collectible stuff, but it's like pretty loose exploration sort of thing.
nice. I mean, it sounds absolutely amazing to me. And yeah,
It's so
it
good.
is free, and I am really excited. Do they know how many? Have they said how many like episodes there's gonna be? Because this is the first episode, right? Of like the
I have no idea. If I remembered well enough, I could probably guess by like the hub area and how
I
many
see.
things there are in it, but I don't remember. I'm gonna guess and say free, but that's a bold-faced lie, and I have no idea.
Nice. All right. Yeah.
I
I
was
mean,
gonna say is, oh, sorry, I just had one more question,
no. Yeah.
which
Go
again,
ahead.
I guess going back to Rel, but like, just either the animated stuff or Dream Barbecue. But would you say that there's like anything that you love from that that's like influenced Rel in any way?
I think shamefully, regrettably, there is a character that accidentally just looks a lot like Ina. And I didn't mean to, but I looked back on it and I was like, oh no. Oh, it's just Ina. I've just drawn Ina. But they don't show up a lot. So I think it's okay. I think I'm
It's
safe with
fine.
that. But aside from that, honestly, a lot of Ina's animations are like, ooh, way too detailed for me. I'm a bit more cartoony with my stuff. So I think usually for my kind of thing, I'm like leaning more towards like very very simple animations, in opposed to like the really really abstract sort of Ina stuff. I think the most mild rail spoilers. The most for Ina inspiration is like maybe some of the more abstract visuals. Whenever I want to do like a weird cutscene, I'm like, well,
Hmm.
maybe I'll do something like that. Maybe I'll do something weird and freakish, kind of like animating that sort of style. But for the most part, I kind of just make little cartoons that I like.
That is.
Yeah. So that is Ina Dream Barbecue. I love. I don't know the title Dream Barbecue. I don't know. I just feel like I would never read that in a title for anything. But
Hmm.
Oh,
I
I
think
know.
it's
It's
great.
really like I still think about it. I don't know what it means. Like the
Oh,
dream part's obvious. Don't know why it's a barbecue.
nice. All right. So hot cider. Do you have any games specifically from your list that you want to talk about?
If you give me one very quick second
Because you
to
have a
have a
few.
look
I
at the
mean,
list.
I'm
Yeah, no,
really.
I did send quite a few, so no, I will be yeah, I will focus on I'm not sure who else played this. It only came out very recently, but Morsels, if anyone's heard of that.
Oh,
I played quite a bit
I
of the
bought it
demo.
today.
Oh, fabulous. Well, I hope you have a good time with it. It is like pretty much become like it's funny because it's very much on the opposite end of like Ooh, where Ooh is this very kind of measured, not professional's not quite the word, but very kind of it stays within its boxes and it knows exactly like kind of what it wants to be. It's very meticulated in its graphics and stuff. Mortals is very much the opposite, where it feels like somebody who kind of loves the roguelike genre and was just sort of like, how can we push this a little bit further? Like not just in terms of its mechanics, but also like its visuals and sound. Genuinely like I think one of the reasons it's like one of my games of the year is just visuals and sounds of it. I know that this has been a really strong year for like especially 3D stuff and kind of especially AAA starting to get a little bit more artsy in how their stuff look, but this is genuinely like I adore the look of this. And I think it kind of goes a little bit back to what we were saying about Eclipsium of using that kind of texture of like distortion and noise to kind of like add to something. And this is like it would be like a normal pixel art game, and you can even like go into the settings and just like knock all the effects off. But by default, it has this kind of like really great. It's not quite CRT, but it would almost be like if you tried to describe what makes, say, CRT television to somebody, and then they try to recreate that from your description, just this really kind of fuzzy and buzzy like dirty look to it, which I think is fab. And then the music kind of goes along with it, where it's very psychedelic, very a lot of, pedal action to it. It is genuinely like just in terms of looking at it, I just adore it. I think I wrote in a review of it, although of the it would be the absolute worst candidate for smell-o-vision, but visuals and sounds wise, it's just like such a treat, kind of. But like in terms of what you do, so you play as there's not much of a plot to it. Like they give you like the briefest explanation of why is the world like it is, and you play as this tiny mouse who essentially wants cheese. Like that is your big motivating kind of action point, but it's completely defenseless. So what you do is during these levels and kind of as you start them off, you are given the titular morsels who are these temporary kind of monster forms that you can turn into, and like one's like a dandelion that spits pollen. One's like a cloud that can box. Another one's like this pebble that runs so quickly and it just smashes through stuff with its body. And the idea is that like as you and again this is the kind of roguelike thing is that as you go through the adventure, you're constantly picking these guys out and like changing them out and going for different things. And they even kind of encourage this by you can level them up individually, but if you level them up too much, they die of old age. So you're constantly having to figure out, oh, okay, do I want to stick with the guys that I like, but try and like manage their experience points, or am I constantly experimenting? And the whole game has that. Like, I just really like there's an old Mega Drive game that reminds me of called Toe Jam and Earl, where it's very like vibesy. Like the arenas that you're in aren't all like aggressive NPCs. You have like just little snails moving around, and then you might learn that if you knock them through a goal, you get extra points. Or you might learn that you can go through mouse holes, and you find all this like weird exploratory. There's one point where you can find a secret level that's all claymation, and it's like genuinely like I've put about nearly 6 or 7 hours into it, which doesn't sound like a lot, but I think for the kind of game that is, where it's all these short 10-20 minute runs, it's quite like you know I feel like I've put more into it than I have any other game this year, but I'm still like finding new stuff in it. And genuinely, because I think if I describe what kind of game is which is like top down, twin stick shootery kind of roguelike, everybody's kind of done that, but I don't think anyone has really done it to the effect or the look or the kind of feel that Morsels has. And yeah, I'm just like, again, Ooh is if that is a masterclass of like making a game as tight as possible. This is like the opposite of like what can you do within this sort of framework as an independent, you know?
It seems, I will say, I played like an hour or so of the Next Fest demo. I think it was a Next Fest
Mm,
demo. They had a demo out, and I played it. And I think my biggest takeaway was that I felt like I learned nothing about, like, this is a positive too. I was like, I felt like I
sure.
learned nothing about how anything functioned for the most part, and it was so interesting because I was like doing the runs, and I was like, it was pretty difficult too. Like I
Oh
was like, I
yeah.
had to be like very like on like my movement and my like shooting, because it, like, yeah, it is not that forgiving, but like also I was just like getting like items and stuff, and like it's very like, it doesn't really tell you like anything. It just kind of like thrusts you into this world so far, at least from the demo. And it was like, it was really cool how it just was like, oh yeah, like all of this stuff is like really weird and wacky, and like, yeah, you can just figure it out. Like,
I mean, I was going to say to the both of you, like, how do you kind of feel about just roguelikes in general? Like, do you think oh, like these are cool, but I like a Balatro style one where I kind of understand more of what's going on, or is it like I don't like games where you can't make permanent progress? Like how do we feel on it?
I love them. I've
Yeah.
I've gotten back into playing Binding of Isaac recently, so
Oh.
I'm just in the pit. I used to play Binding of Isaac in university, like every single day. I was like, oh, it's so good. And now I didn't play it for years because I was way too into it and I just did everything. And now I'm like I'm back into Isaac, baby. I'm playing so much of it every single day again. I love a roguelike. I think it's so fun as a genre just to be like,
Hmm.
here's a system and you just do it. And you just do the thing and then you'll die or you won't die. And then you can just do it again and it's different. And I think that's just really fun. It's like if you can perfect a roguelike and make it like a really engaging loop that you just want to do more and more of, it's just so satisfying and so much fun to do. I think it's just like such a good genre. And I think Morsel's like the last game they did was Atomicrops, at least by the same artist.
Oh.
I think.
Yes, I think that's right. Yeah, I
Yeah,
believe the
because I played that one.
yeah, because
I
I
don't
think
know
this
if
is
it's
a new
like,
team that was put together for this, but yeah, it is a lot of people from like previous projects, from what I
oh, okay.
understand.
Just the art style looked very similar. I don't know about the coding or whatever, but like that was
Yeah.
also a roguelike too that I was just like, oh, this is just fun. But I think I love a roguelike. They're so fun. They're just so much fun to play.
As for me, I I haven't played. I've played a lot of roguelikes, but not nearly as many as I feel like most people. Like I don't know. I love roguelikes like Spelunky, like Going Under. I
Hmm.
don't know, just like very like it seems like very random ones pique my interests. I don't know. I haven't played all that many in the grand like scheme of how many like roguelikes there are. And so like I have like no sense of like fatigue or anything for the genre. I do like it though. I don't know. I think I either like it to be like more like arcadey, like more like
Yeah.
straightforward arcade like, or I also do like things that are just very like yeah like opaque and like don't really tell you what's going on because it's like I don't know. I really like that like yeah like trust me to figure things out because I might take a while but I will. But yeah I don't know. I don't know. I never look and am like oh it's a roguelike like I don't want to play that. I'm just like it's just
Yeah.
more so of like I just pick like random ones.
No, and it's funny because I think with this as well, like if it, I mean, I'm saying if it wasn't a roguelike, I'd still enjoy, but I'm trying to think like in my head, well, what would it look like if it wasn't a roguelike? Kind of, I guess it would just be permanent progression, but it does do the nice roguelike thing of you do as you keep playing it, and like when you complete runs, either by dying or getting to the end. You do unlock new stuff, but it's in the way of like you'll get that stuff in the next run then, which I think is really cool. But also just as you kind of said, August, of like you kept learning stuff during the demo, and it's just like yeah, like there's like it feels like they've just put a ton of like really like interesting secrets in there, and I think the thing that I like about it most is just the fact that it doesn't feel overly gamey in a way of say because you mentioned Isaac, and I think like. I I think I never quite got into Isaac the same way that a lot of people I know did, and I think that's more of a me problem. But I think part of that was whenever I talked to them about it, they got very into the numbers of this does this and this does this.
Oh,
Whereas
100%.
with Morsels, because it's still very early days, or at least just because maybe the runs are so short and it's trying to be a bit more obfuscation, I'm kind of glad that it's like oh, you're kind of more going on the vibes aspect of you'll feel a difference, but we're not going to tell you exactly if. But then some stuff is self-explanatory, but in a funny way of like you'll get a pickup and it'll just say more trash in a level, and what that means is there is literally more trash in a level that you can roll for. Like if Isaac is more about like kind of religious dogma turned into power-ups, this is more like what if they turned an alleyway outside of a like a chip shop into a roguelike, I think, which I think is such a fun thing. But yeah, genuinely super impressed. And one thing as well, you mentioned teams, and not that it matters a ton, but like I think this was published by Annapurna, which whenever I think of their indie output, it's always a little bit more like they did Watam and like Florence and stuff like that. It's usually a bit more buttoned up, and this I think is like a really interesting example of like them going almost going into more of that Devolver zone where it's a bit more grungy and a bit more punk. And again, to bring it back to Rail, because obviously you're working with Yogscast on that, and like, how have you found that as like a creative kind of like balancing? So I imagine they're quite open, but like, have you found that like you're balancing kind of your vision for this as well as kind of like fitting in the Yogs oeuvre, I guess? Or
Honestly, I just send the Yogscast updates and they're like, go. Because
looking good,
they
thumbs
don't
up.
do anything
Nice.
as terms of like changing stuff in Rel. The
That's
most,
great.
I mean, Yogscast is really great.
Mm,
They're very like, just like, we want to make the game that you want to make, you know, very open to whatever I think is creative and like good for the game. I think they're like very, very good for that. And also they play a lot of games, so it's kind of like
yeah.
they get what makes a game fun. I think in terms of like working with the Yogscast, my experience has mostly just been like the kind of feedback I get and like the things they want to change, just like the things that would make the game more engaging for players. Like one thing, okay, this is really, really specific to Rel.
Mhm.
So there's kind of a big, you break out of jail at the beginning and you go through a bunch of story stuff. And then you do like some puzzles. But like a big feedback we've had recently is like, okay, some players like want more puzzles between that. So with the Ox class, it was just a meeting call with them and just going through, okay, what can we do to make a puzzle here? What if we rip out this staircase? Let's just do that. And that's the kind of feedback I get from the Ox class of just like, well, let's just make this bit more fun. And like it's like a lot more loose in the kind of things
Sure.
that I get to do with developing that with them, which I like. I like when I just get to have fun and be creative. I think that's definitely like what is more fulfilling to me. If I had a publisher that was like really corporate and wanted me to do like a bunch of really specific stuff, I would hate that. I would not be able to work under that. So I'm really glad the Yogscast are just like very casual and fun about it.
That's fab.
That yeah, that that honestly is like the best case scenario. Just like make your art, and then we're here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's been really fulfilling working with them. I've had a great time.
that is
Oh,
awesome.
lovely.
Yeah, I mean, Morsels just seems like it's definitely a game I'm gonna be picking up because the demo was like it was very out there, and I was like I need to see more of just what this game has to offer. Um, yeah, and so that's the game I'm gonna be getting to for sure. I don't even know if I have like any more like questions because I feel like I was confused playing the demo like a lot of it, so I was like, oh, I just like I feel like I just need to like just head first into it.
I think that's always the roguelike thing is that like if you say to people, "Oh, it's a confusing genre that you might not get initially," some people go like at that, and then some people go, "Well, that's the juice for me. That's why I'm here. You know, that's why I'm in the line." So, and I'll say as well, I again earlier in the year moved from Windows to Mac, but it's been like I've been mostly playing it on Steam Deck, and it's just a really fantastic uh, just a really great pick up and play game for that, you know?
I wonder if it's
So,
on the Switch too, because if so, I think I would get it on that. I
ooh,
don't know if it is though.
I
I could see
I
it doing
wouldn't be
well on
surprised if it comes
Switch.
to Switch too if it hasn't yet. But
Yeah, I mean, Slug, do you have any more questions about Morsels? Because you just got it today. I'm sure you're excited to play it.
I'm just excited to play it, honestly.
Yeah, it. I mean,
But
you'll have to
I don't
let
know.
us know who your
It seems very
favorite
much just like a fun.
you have to let us know who your favorite morsel is out of the
Oh my gosh,
collection.
yeah. I didn't even know there was like little guys in it, so I'm really excited.
I don't even
I
remember.
have only seen like visuals of like very. I don't look at like trailers or anything, so I'm like
Sure.
blind when it comes to what games are about. I just go like, this screenshot looks nice. I'll get that, kind of thing. So like I'm excited that there's little creatures in it. I'm gonna have so much fun with this. I got like that and Witch Hand today, and I was gonna play both of them, and I just played Witch Hand for like maybe 6 hours. So I didn't get around to playing Morsels, but I will tomorrow. That's gonna be my plan tomorrow, just playing Morsels all day.
Nice.
Excellent.
All right, and then I have a few games on my list as well. I think I'm gonna go with Contract Rush DX. Contract Rush DX. Yeah, also one of my favorite games this year. It is a 2D platformer like run and gun that has a absolutely wonderful art style. It's very like Newgrounds esque.
Hmm.
It's so great. It's filled with so much passion. It is so essentially, it is like you play as this character, and you're like a hit person. Like you got assigned to do like to go like basically kill these like handful of people because the person you're like working for says that like, oh, like if there's some sort of mission about like bringing his son back from the dead or something like that. And the game wastes no time just like going like full throttle with it. Like in the first level, you end up fighting a boss who I won't spoil in the first level. It's just like it is a very notable being, I will just say that you end up fighting. And then from like that point on, you kind of get to choose the contracts in any order you want. So you get to choose like the levels, kind of like Mega Man, where you get to just like choose which contract you want to do. And it's very standard in the way that like it's a 2D platformer with like enemies and bullets are flying across the screen and you're just like shooting your gun. But I think something that like is so amazing is that, well, there's multiple characters you can unlock, and then also there's no permanent upgrades. You get every upgrade within a level, and then when you start another level you have no upgrades again. So you kind of have to earn all of those same upgrades back. And it sounds really interesting and like it might be jarring, but it works so well because with the way the levels are designed, you can beat them with any character, even with like no power ups. And so it's very like open in that way. But there's something so satisfying about like, because the core like movement and like shooting feels so great, but there's something so satisfying about like starting like a new contract and like having none of your like, because it gets really absurd. Like when you go through a level, like you can get like quadruple, quintuple jumps, and like you get like upgrades that have you shooting out like blasts of like all these bullets on the screen, and so you feel like so overpowered when you get to like the end section of a level. But there's something so satisfying about like starting a new level and just having all of that taken away from you, and then just like going back into it and like getting those upgrades again in like one contract. It's such a like it's such a fun game. Like everything about it is just so like the enemy like design and just the way like they incorporate the aesthetics of a level with the enemies. Like there's one level that's like basically like you're just running through Hollywood, like shooting like, and they always do it contextually, so it's like, oh, like now you're using rubber bullets on like these security guards because you're trying to like sneak in. But like, yeah, you're like, there's like one section that's like supposed to be like Hollywood, and then there's like another level that's like a haunted mansion. And so like they really like take these concepts and like really like lean into them, because every level like also has like a very distinct mechanical quality to it. Like they all do something really unique where you're like, oh, I didn't expect this to be like a part of this level, but like now this is something I have to account for. It's just it is such a like fantastic game. I don't know if either of you have heard of it.
No,
I
it
had
sounds
never heard of it
interesting.
until you sent it.
Yeah, it seems cool. Like it feels very like almost Mega Man inspired, especially like how kind of levels and bosses are tied together. Although it's cool that you kind of mentioned the Newgrounds thing, because I always think of like that always been kind of like an entryway for a lot of indie developers, is that they will build like a lot of games on Newgrounds first and then kind of like almost scale up from there. And I think even in the trailer I saw that there were like Newgrounds characters in it, which was interesting. And I
Yeah.
guess just kind of from that aspect, like do you feel like there's kind of like, does any of the Newgroundsiness kind of feel in the like, because again with flash games and stuff, levels are always like super short, because it's like, well, if you're playing this on a lunch break or whatever, you might not only put some time into it. But or do they get quite like ambitious with it, you
I
know?
I would say this game is incredibly ambitious. Like and I
Wow.
would say that it literally pulls it off like it pulls it all off so well. I would say that like the Newgrounds influence is definitely there in like the visual style, and I would say like the tone of things. Even though the story and stuff can get very serious, this game just does like so much cool stuff, and it's very confident in the way that it like does everything. The levels are honestly like way bigger than I expected. I guess because there's like a handful of contracts, they like really like went in and like they make them feel so like grand and so like almost like they're stories in and of themselves, of like like they go through all of like the ups and downs like of like mechanical wise and like narratively of like why you're there to do what you're doing. And yeah, so the each contract on its own is very like beefy, And not only that, they also have like side contracts, which are cool because they're also contextualized, but those are like way more like arcadey time trial, like, oh, get to the end, or like defeat all of these enemies, and then like you'll get like your star ratings. But yeah, they do both of them so well. Of like the main game, the main contracts, just like, I don't know. I think they're so like, there's no checkpoints either, of like, so you can't like quit out of a level and then like come back in. It like will just restart you if you didn't finish the contract, which is like interesting because I did it once and then I came back in and I was like, oh wow. And like, which was interesting because I guess I assumed because of how big the levels were that like there would be checkpointing like that. But yeah, it's just, everything it does is absolutely fantastic. And like, let alone the movement and the characters, because the characters, like, they all control very differently and they all have such different personalities. And it's it's just so wonderful. Everything they do is just like, in the boss fights are also like absolutely incredible. Like, the music, the personalities of all of the boss fights, and even like mechanically, like how they do things. It's like, oh, like every boss fight just feels so like, wow, they really like were like, oh, this is what this character is, and then we're gonna make a boss fight that is very indicative of like their personality. And I think it just shows so well, and like, just from like start to finish, like everything you can do. And I think it's really cool that there's like, in between contracts, you like, because like the front for like your like mission that you were hired to do is that like you have like a cafe, because I guess you just needed a place to like, oh look, we're like doing things above board. And like, so like you come back to like a cafe that's like plays really nice music, and then there's always like random like customers in there that you can like talk to. But no, it's absolutely like fantastic, and I would highly recommend it, even for people who like aren't even like accustomed to like any sort of like 2D platforming or like run and gun games. I think it just does so much there to like also like assist players. And then just, it's just so strong narratively and like mechanically. It just, I feel like it goes so far in all the directions that it chooses to go, that it's just such a satisfying experience.
It looks very like visually just like cool. When I looked at the Steam page when you sent it over, I was just like, oh, this just looks fun. This looks great. I really love games with like have like sort of like kind of going into that other like really stylized sort of like drawn style with like a lot of 2D games. I really love that that's like kind of more of a popular style now because it just like it looks so nice. I love how games look like that. It's just very eye-catching to me.
Yeah, it's everything about the aesthetic for it is just absolutely like great. And like the animation also is just like crazy. Like some of the, like, especially for like the bosses, it's like just like watching how they're animated, I'm like, it's like I'm also trying to like admire the animation but also avoid all the bullets. It's like
Yeah.
there's just so much going on. Yeah, it's
I,
really great.
I was going to say, in regards to hopefully it's not any spoilers, but off the top of your head, what's your favorite level in it, and what's your favorite
Oh
boss?
my goodness. I would say my favorite boss off the top of my head is probably the one that takes place in the Hollywood level, because of
Hmm.
like just what they do with it. Like, it's like, I wish I could go into it without spoilers, but it's like, because the way they construct the boss fights, especially like just being so indicative of like the bosses, like who you're there to kill, like their personality, and the way they construct the boss fights mechanically, it's very, I'll just say that the boss fight for that one is very like showman like. It's very just
Hmm.
like theatrical in a way that I'm like, I just was smiling so hard. And the bosses are difficult too, because like, and I was like fine dying, because I was like, at least I get to appreciate like the first section of this boss again, like with how it was. But for the level, I would say, oh my gosh, there is a level that is essentially kaiju. Like there's a kaiju in the background that can
Ooh.
affect what you're playing in the foreground. And
Ooh.
it also goes places. I won't say anything more. It goes places with that level where I was like, I just like, I don't know, I kept having to like take deep breaths because I was getting so excited. I was like, this is just so cool, like just how they choose to like go about it, because there's also like these little like almost like Sentai, like Power Ranger esque group there to try and like fight the kaiju. And it's just, they, Yeah, every level is so very distinct, like visually, sonically, like with the audio and the soundtracks. Like they really are just like, oh no, like this is like this level, so we're just gonna go all in on it. Like instead of like almost having like an overarching like thematics to it, it's like no, like they just go full in on every single thing. It's yeah, I
That
absolutely
sounds so
love it.
cool.
Yeah.
You mentioned about they do a lot because I do find like run and gun stuff like Contra or like I can't remember what the old Sega one was called, the Treasure Maid, but like I can find those games quite tough. And you mentioned that they do a lot to sort of like help you out with it. So what kind of yeah, what kind of options have they got for that?
Well, I would say I'm actually not sure about like what like sort of like what's if there are accessibility options.
Hmm.
I know that there is like in the cafe that you're in, you can like buy things because there's no like permanent upgrades, but you can buy
Oh,
things to
interesting.
take into the
Yeah,
level with you, which is
make it
also
easier.
yeah just very helpful. And then let alone like the different characters. So sometimes I was like because like there's a character like there's two characters I really like, but sometimes I was like struggling with a level and I was like I know this other character would be better for this, so I would like switch to them and then like go from there. And I think also the side contracts have a really good way of like being fun while also like they made me so much better at like the main contract because at first I was like oh well this game's kind of tough and then like when I was playing the side contracts where it's like oh just get to the end really fast like it was like teaching me like the movement and like the just overall mechanics better. But yeah, I would say honestly, just like the shop in the game, like you could just buy like all sorts of things to like go into, so you kind of start with a leg up. But I feel like they do such a good job balancing, like like I was saying with like the how you get the upgrades every like level, how you like re-get those upgrades. So like when you're able to do like 5 jumps, it's like you can kind of also kind of like wait out enemy attacks in a way. So like there's certain things you can do, and some of the levels have which I don't know if all of them have them, but they have like little vending machines as well. So you can just like spend your points in the level to just get a bunch of upgrades like before you continue.
Cool.
Yeah, it is absolutely like
With the different
bombastic.
characters, oh, with the different characters, do you think like each level is designed around a character? So like you could, one of them would be like easier with one character, or is it like kind of like everything's designed around the characters, so there's not really like a huge advantage for each individual character, like per level?
I would say so. I think that um, so like the levels are kind of designed just like in a general sense of like oh like there's just like it's interesting because I will say I actually did a text based interview with the developers, um, and they were saying that they like design the levels like like generally like so they could be completed with like any character and like not that they would like favor like one or the other. It was more so of like but I think like inherently it's like oh because like this character can like shoot in like this direction. Like I think it just kind of like they just design the levels and then it's like oh like some like this character happens to be better than like this one at the level,
Okay.
in that sort of sense. Yeah, because like you also don't
I think that
even
makes sense. I feel like that kind of comes up
because you also don't even
naturally
have
when you're sort
to
of designing those things.
yeah, and you don't even have to like buy the characters if you don't want to. Like they're it's like optional. Like they kind of just like will show
Oh,
up
right.
and then like you can choose to spend your money to buy them, which is kind of cute cuz like you like hire them and they do like a little interview thingy like when you hire them of like, "Oh, like this is why I'm
Oh.
here."
That's cool.
Yeah.
Other games do that. They have like some flavor to unlocking a character. I think it's really charming.
Yeah. And I will say too there is also some optional stuff in this game that even I didn't go all the way with because it gets like really like difficult, but there is so they have like the main contracts and then you can also revisit those levels, which
Oh.
it's not just like replaying the level like they like when you revisit them they they change a lot with the level and so it's essentially like playing a new level and it's like they also I think that's how they like they really made the most of every single one of those contracts because it's also like narratively and contextually like there's a reason to go back to every single place that you went to because like you get to see the aftermath of what happened while you were there on your first run or like something like that like they really change it up and like even like we'll have like a different like goal there as well like a different mission. which, yeah, it's an absolute blast of a game. And so I think with that, I think that is all of the games we'll talk about today, so we don't run too long. But I do want to um, end it with asking, since it is the holidays, if either of you have any sort of holiday like gaming rituals or games that you tend to gravitate to towards the holidays.
Oh, I actually do. So usually I usually go back and visit like my mum for the holiday season, but I don't like bring my PC with me. So I usually will just bring my Switch with me. And then I feel like every single holiday, the past like few holidays, I've just exclusively played Baba Is You on the holidays. So I feel like my Christmas
Yeah.
routine is just playing Baba Is You, and just like, I have my hot chocolate and I buy the Christmas tree and there's Baba Is You and I'm on the same level for 2 weeks. And I feel like that has slowly become my Christmas like holiday routine of what game I play. It's just like Baba Is You, and now it's just become so comfy cozy for me to play Baba Is You around this time because I'm just happy. I'm just playing with my little whatever Baba is. Oh, a sheep. I've just figured out it's a sheep. I'm just playing with a little character and I'm having fun and I love it so much. I feel like that's like my go-to.
That is a good answer. I have not got to Baba Is You yet, but every time I look at it, I'm like,
Oh my gosh,
I
you
know
have
it's, yeah,
to.
especially too because it
It's
just
so
looks,
good.
yeah, it looks incredible. What about you, Hotsider? Do you have any?
It's funny because I don't do a lot of gaming over Christmas, usually because I'm doing like a bit too much family stuff. But I do like going back to older stuff kind of when I do have the time off. And I guess, yeah, over Christmas, I might replay something towards the end of the year. And that's either a Metroid game, because I quite like it's funny, like it is funny that you mentioned that you replay Baba Is You, because you'd think that you'd eventually like you'd just learn the solution, so it would be like just
Oh no, I haven't even
redoing that.
finished it yet. And there's still puzzles I haven't done yet. There's
Ah,
so many. I'm still like oh my gosh, I'm still like not done with it. I don't even know if I'm halfway. I've done the main story, but there's like extra stuff. And it's I don't know. Maybe I'm just stupid, but it takes me so long to do Baba Is You.
oh, it's fair enough. I guess then, yeah, like with replaying this stuff, I guess it's a bit more like I guess it's like watching an old film. Like you kind of know what's happening, but it's just kind of like a comfy place to be. And I guess like Metroid's a weird one, like calling that a comfy series because it's really not. But like Super Mario 64 as well is like that's like a nice one to go back to. It still feels, I mean, I think that was like a Christmas game that I had as a child. So like there is almost a little bit of that connection as well of just that, especially in like all the snow levels, they're all very Christmassy as well. So like, yeah, it's just kind of nice going back there and just yeah, just kind of retreading old ground with them a little bit. And I don't know, sometimes you do learn new stuff with them. Sometimes you try and speed run them and the like. But yeah, it's just like a chill visit back. I guess it's like weirdly it's like going back home for Christmas in a way, you know.
Yeah, I think
You
because
guys ever on Battlefield and it's like, oh, I'm home.
All my friends are here. The Cooper the Quick and King Bob Om. All my folks.
can never catch them.
Yeah.
the I
I get what you
replay.
mean though with Metroid being like comfy, despite it being like gross and like like horror kind of, well, not horror, but like weird looking, because I always replay Dark Souls 1 and I find that like a really comfy
Yeah.
game. And like I'm in the sewers and there's like gore dragging around me and I'm like, ah, it's so happy and nice here, I'm home. It's like, I don't know, like I think even a horrifying gross game, if you like have like this connection with it and you like really like it can like still be really comfy and nice, and I think that's like really cool.
I think with Dark Souls especially, it's almost a bit like, you kind of have that feeling that you did initially of just like how challenging it was beforehand, but then like just going back and being able to complete it, you do still have that kind of like nice warm feeling of, oh yeah, this was challenging beforehand, but like now I'm good with that. Dark Souls as well also has a good Christmas level when you go inside the big painting. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
Oh, it does. I'd love to go there for Christmas.
it's so funny that because like I feel like I replay a lot of games. Cause I just like replaying them. I think there's a lot of like value in that, and but I don't feel like I have any sort of like holiday like rituals yet. But I would like to establish them because like there's some you know, like Ape Escape has like some snow levels and stuff, but like I can never like
Yeah.
jump right to it, you know what I mean? Especially if I'm like replaying. So like I kind of want to get my save file up for certain games so when it comes around time I can just hop into the level. But I think it's so funny that you mentioned Dark Souls cuz I was like my wife we were talking and I was like, "Oh, like I don't know how it got brought up, but just the question of like if you could live in a game like world, where would it be?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, it'd probably be like Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 1 or like I don't know, like Kirby or something. I feel like it'd have to be like Dark Souls, like the weird melancholic like that or like something really cute."
That is such like a different answer.
Yeah, and then
It's like, yeah, I want to live in the one where you just eat cake all day, or the one where if you die, you just become a hollow husk forever.
yeah, I think I don't know. Dark Souls 1 has always been like a comfort game, and I think yeah, and I always replay usually like inside. I replay like once a year. I feel like
Ooh,
um,
yeah.
I don't know what it is. I've just always been drawn to replaying that game, but yeah, I don't think I have any like sort of specific holiday like traditions gaming wise or rituals. I will say though, getting the Switch 2 and playing like cuz I feel like Nintendo's just been a part of like my holidays growing up and throughout my life. And so playing the Switch 2 like in bed like with like on Air Riders or like Mario
Mm.
Kart World has felt like oddly comforting in that way where I'm like, you know, it reminds me of playing like Super Mario Brothers for the Wii and stuff like that like for in the holidays.
I just want to say as well, just because you said about it's, you know, going to all these, you know, an ice level's usually quite late in a game. There is a $1 billion idea on the like sitting on the table of just somebody should do like, you know, you get Christmas compilation albums of all the classic Christmas songs. Somebody should just do that, but it's just all the Christmas levels and platformer games, just
Yeah.
like one after the other.
Cuz lead it was so
Oh, that
funny.
would be like a great mod collection.
Yeah,
Yeah, the Christmas one.
leading up to the holidays, I was like looking it up. I was like, "Oh, best Christmas games, best winter games and stuff like that." And it's usually like winter levels or Christmas levels. I found a couple odd like Nights into Dreams has like a they
Yep.
have like a Christmas game and I was like, "That's amazing. Like I should play that." But yeah, for the most part it's like I don't know, stuff that just kind of like feels like it, I guess, like but yeah, that is wonderful.
I
Well,
guess if you think about it, it's like a million and one like Halloweeny games because there's like horror
Yeah.
games, but it's like
yeah.
Christmas is a genre. It's just like no games for it. I mean, it's very specific, I guess. I wouldn't really
Yeah.
play a Christmas game in July.
That's true. Yeah, it doesn't work all times of the year. I mean, will you consider potentially Rel having a Christmas themed level or making it?
That's very funny because I got a message from the Yogscast today of being like, "Hey, do you have any like Christmassy themed screenshots that we could post?" And I was like, "Don't worry about it. There's a snowy mountain. I'm right
Oh,
with
there
you.
we
There's
go.
even
Nice.
a combination of spells to make snow, and if you cast it on Rel, she becomes a snowball, and she rolls around and she has a little carrot nose. So it's like
Amazing.
it's already there. I've already got like a little Christmassy little bit for Umbrel.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, and then I mean with that, it looks like so we talked about Eclipsium, Ooh, Morsels, Angeline Era, and Contract Rush DX. There was a lot of amazing games this year, and yeah, I don't know. It feels like every time I look and I'm like, oh, what came out this year? I find something else to like put on the list of games that I'm like, oh, I'll get to it eventually. But yeah, I want to thank you both so much for joining me. It's been a blast, like just talking about games with both of you. Um, if you want to mention where people can find you,
Oh, sure. It's been lovely being had as well. This has been a really fun podcast. You can find me at SlugGlove, which is SlugGlove. I have to spell it out because sometimes people don't know there's two G's in it. Just on any platform. That's like my developer handle, and it's where I'm making Rel. Or you can just search for Rel on Steam, which is Rhell. I'm noticing a pattern of making handles that no one can spell. But
Double
those are just
letters.
my two things. Those are my two things that I'm doing. Just find one of them and look at them, and you'll get to the other one. But that's basically it for me. I just make videos games.
Cool. I mostly just make videos of video games, but yeah, you can find me at hotcyder HOTCYDER on YouTube, and yeah, I'm also on the socials Blue Sky is mostly the one that I use. So check me out there.
Awesome. And then, I mean, if you haven't watched Play Forever, by the time this is out into the internet ethos, you can go watch Play Forever. If you somehow watched this all without watching the Play Forever show, go watch that. And then also go follow these awesome people. And then you can find me in like the interviews that I have done with developers along with other things. I don't have any social media, so it's just all on my neocities. Seafoamheart.neocities.org. Go there. Everything's there. A bunch of links are there. If you click on the I have a little GIF of Tails from Sonic. If you click on that, something cool will happen. Go do that. All
I
right.
love your NeoCity site so much. It's so cute.
Thank you, thank you. I'm still working on it. Some stuff's a little broken, but I don't know how to code web pages, so I'm kind of still I'm doing my best. So, with that, thank you all so much for joining me. It has been a blast. Goodbye, everyone listening.
Bye.
Bye.